Thank you for listening, citizens, to the Daily Disney Blog Podcast with, of course, the bodacious, could he be the new launchpad, Brad Hughes. You'll feel the difference. Stay dangerous. Darkwing Duck out.
Hi, this is Bill Farmer, the voice behind Goofy and Pluto and many of your Disney favorites, and you're listening to the Daily Disney Blog, right here.
Hey everybody, this is Brad with the Daily Disney Blog, your source for all things Disney and a how-to guide to Walt Disney World. Before we get the show started, I would like to invite you to follow me over on Twitter at Daily Disney Blog. You can also check out our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/The Daily Disney Blog. You can send listener questions to thedailydisneyblog@gmail.com. And please rate and review the show over on iTunes. Even if you don't listen on iTunes, still do that. It helps us out, lets more people find out about the show. With all that said, please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello everybody, my name is Brad, and I am the host of the Daily Disney Blog podcast. That's the new intro. No, it's not. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. It is really hot here in Central Florida. I heard that the other day that in a few days it's going to be 106 outside. Oh God, it's so hot. But on today's show, that's neither here nor there. But on today's show, we're going to do a piece of news, and then we're going to introduce some listener questions. And really only one piece of news today because there hasn't been a lot of news. We're in the dog days of summer, so there's really not much going on. Everything's kind of up and running and no refurbishments except, actually that's not true. There is a refurb going on right now of, I can't think of the name, the Treehouse, Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. And something else too, I forget what it was. Anyway, Swiss Family Robinson will be closed until, I think they said October. It's kind of a lengthy refurbishment, and there's people going around saying that it's going to be Tarzan's, but I don't think that's going to happen. So the only real piece of news that we have today is something interesting, and on the face of it, you might go, okay, well, yeah, that is interesting, but why is it, once I point something out, you probably go, you probably sound like that, is that how you're going to sound? Like that woman who fell in the grapes that one time. Do you guys remember that video? If you don't know what I'm talking about, YouTube, the woman falls while crushing grapes with her feet. It's one of the It's one of the funniest things you'll ever see. Anyway, that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about today. What I'm talking about now, the news that we're talking about before we move on to the listener questions, is news today that the Disney Parks blog released a new image of their concept art for Star Wars Experience at Disneyland. Now, there's all kinds of stuff in this. Before anything hit my eye, though, the first thing that hit my eye was the water being featured in this. I think we always knew with them doing stuff at Rivers of America that this was going to have water as some sort of feature. But there's a lot of buildings here. And, of course, you see the Millennium Falcon, which gets me so excited. But that's not the interesting part. The interesting part to me is that they specifically said that this was Disneyland's version. Okay? Which leads me to believe, and this is total speculation, this is true, I have no inside knowledge of this whatsoever, which leads me to believe that they will be more different than we initially thought. Now, when we first heard this, I remember my first thought was, so wait, are they going to be the same? Because they showed the same concept art for both. They were very vague on details for both. But they keep kind of separating them. Like, this is Disneyland's Star Wars Experience, and this is what you guys will have at Hollywood Studios. And seeing this gets me really excited. It just makes it more real for me. You guys know I'm a huge Star Wars nut, which is why I was able to talk for 30 minutes about Star Wars the other day. And I hope you guys enjoyed the episode that I did with Benjamin Lancaster, Walt's Frozen Head on Twitter. I love that guy. He's so funny. We recorded that really late. I was really kind of out of it, so that's why all my ideas were terrible. He's awesome. I kind of let him lead that one a little bit. That was fun. So that makes me think that they're going to do 2 different versions of Star Wars Experience, which is awesome because I don't want to go to Disneyland for the first time when I go, which will probably be before this, but I don't want to go and not have to do their Star Wars. I want something else there that is not here in Orlando, which is so weird to me. I just got chills that this is home now. That's kind of weird. It still hits me every once in a while that I live here now. I don't want to miss it because I want something different from each of the lands. Like, I want to have a reason to go visit. I don't want to feel like I can skip it. I want 2 different versions for that reason. So that was my little... Isn't it funny how I can go off on a 5-minute tangent about one picture? It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever that I can do that. But yeah, that's why I'm really excited about this news. So that's all the news for today. There might be some few things coming in the next few days. Hopefully an announcement about when Kong officially opens, and hopefully an announcement in the next few days about the Incredible Hulk. Also, I will do an announcement at the end of the show. God, please don't let me forget to do it again. About my second YouTube channel that is now up and going. I have one video posted up there already. You know, well, I've already talked about it. Why don't we just go and talk about it? The Orlando Vlogger is my new YouTube channel. You can go check that out, youtube.com/The Orlando Vlogger, or just Google The Orlando Vlogger, or go to Twitter. And I will. I've quoted I retweeted a link to it. You can see it there. But the reason I did the second YouTube channel was because I like doing stuff from other things in Orlando. I like doing Universal. I'm going to eventually go to SeaWorld. I'm going to do the Holy Land experience, the Orlando Eye, some really bizarre stuff that is in the works. I'm going to try to do this thing where I shoot machine guns. And I want to be able to film all this. And it doesn't fall under the umbrella of the Daily Disney Blog podcast and the Daily Disney Blog channel and all that stuff. So I was like, how do I do this? I don't want to change the name because this is already an established thing. I like it. It's fun. I like the Disney stuff. I like to be able to just focus on Disney. So I decided, why not do a second channel? Because God knows I don't have enough to do already. But I think it's going to be great. They're not going to be as frequent as the Daily Disney Blog YouTube videos or the podcast or anything like that. It's going to be once a week, maybe twice a week if I get real crazy. YouTube is hard because it's one of those things where I'm just not very good at it. B, I prefer to do it at my own speed, and it's not something that I can just whip together like a podcast version. I'm literally sitting on my couch talking right now. It's a lot more involved. There's editing. You got to put it together. You got to upload it. This is easy. The podcast is easy for me because it's just my wheelhouse. I can do the audio editing fairly quickly, and I like doing this better. If I'm being perfectly honest, I like if someone came to me and said you can do one of your 2 things forever, like this, you have to pick either the podcast or the YouTube channel or writing. 100% of the time, I'm going to pick the podcast. It's my absolute favorite thing to do. I love talking to you guys. I think it's going to sound narcissistic, but I think this is what I'm best at when it comes to being able to think my thoughts through and kind of come to realizations with certain things like this. Like it would be really hard for me to write an article about my feelings on that one picture because it would just not flow right. You wouldn't get my way I'm saying things. So, but there's that announcement. So if you want to check that out, please do that. Go subscribe, go like the video, share them, and do all that fun YouTube crap. So let's end this part here, and I hope you guys are excited like I am for Star Wars Experience. So that is going to be very exciting. All right, moving on to listener questions. Now, if you're looking at this and you're going, Brad, but I have a listener question. I want to send you a listener question. Fantastic. You can send them to me at thedailydisneyblog@gmail.com, or you can go to the website and hit contact, and the website is thedailydisneyblogpodcast.wordpress.com, and you can send them to me there. It goes to the same account, so it doesn't really matter how you do it. The podcast page is a little easier, actually. But that is going to do it for this part. Now let's move on to these amazing listener questions. Alrighty. First listener question here comes from listener Amy, who writes, "Hey Brad, if you had to eat at only one Disney restaurant for the rest of your life, which would it be? Remember, you have to think food, ambiance, and value. Thanks and keep up the great work." Okay, my first initial thought would have been Ohana, because I love the food so much there. I think you can go one night you could do chicken, one night you could do steak, one night you could do just shrimp, one night you could do salad, one night you could do bread. Like, there's a lot of options there. But when you threw in the ambiance and value, although it does have a great ambiance at the Polynesian, I'm going to have to go with my all-time favorite thing to do. Oh, I don't know. I can't say that anymore because the Star Wars fireworks thing was pretty fantastic. depending on the day, my first or second thing of all time at Walt Disney World, I'm going to go with Hoop-Dee-Doo Review. I know I give that as an example all the time of what is my favorite thing to do at Disney. I think it's one of the best values on property, hands down. And just the fun of it. It's just so much fun. Like, if you go with a great crowd and everybody's into it and having fun, it's great. If everyone's not into it, it's great. It's still great. You know what I mean? If everyone's not into it and not having a great time, it's still great. You just kind of lose a little bit of that, like, crowd fun feeling. But it's still absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to have to go with that one. The Ohana's a second close, like a very close second, but I'm going to have to go with Hoop-Dee-Doo. And I'm actually going to throw another one out there that I would consider. This is a good question. Oh, you didn't say sit down or table service, did you? All right, so I'll give you one quick service and one table service. So table would be Hoop-Dee-Doo or Ohana, depending on how I'm feeling, or counter service Sunshine Seasons, because there's just so much to do there. Like, that one you could not get bored at. Like, you could seriously try something new every single day for like 2 weeks and you'd be fine eating lunch and dinner there. So that would be my 2 picks there. Yeah, I think that's it. That's my 2 picks. So yeah, that's a good question. I like questions like that. Next question here. Alex writes, "Hey Brad, how are you?" That's just how I read it. Probably not how you said it, Alex, but that's how I took it. Me and my family are coming down for a 2-week trip at the campsites in August, and we were wondering if you had stayed there, and if you think it is worth it to get a, or getting a, is worth it getting a, if you think it's worth it getting a, for, this is horribly worded here. If you stay there, everything is worth... Oh, I'm sorry, that's me. If you think it's worth getting a golf cart rental... I can't read out loud. If you think it's worth getting a golf cart rental, and if you thought driving or taking Disney transportation would be the better option. Thanks. We love the show and plan on binge listening on our trip down to get us pumped. Well, Alex, thank you so much for that question. Let's start it here from the beginning. Here, we'll kind of go back through and answer it question by question. Have you stayed at the campsites before? Yes, I have. I really actually enjoyed it, and it's something my son really still talks about. One of the things I really found interesting about the campsites when I stayed there, luckily, I think it was either April or May. I can't remember when it was exactly. I think it was April. Maybe it was, either way, it was kind of cool outside still. I couldn't imagine coming, we're just saying you guys come in August, it's going to be really hot. Get up and get out early. That'd be my suggestion, because once you're in that tent and it starts getting hot in that tent, it's going to be brutal. It's one of the things that my son still talks about to this day. Like, he loved doing it so much. I think even once they finally move here from North Carolina, just to let you guys know, Brandy has moved to Orlando now, and she is actually, I'm in her townhouse right now. She has moved all her stuff in, and once everything is moved in and ready to rock and roll, the kids are coming down, and they will live here in Orlando now. Can't wait. That's very exciting. But I think once they're here, we're still probably going to go do the campsites here and there. We'll probably go for, like, take a few days off work, go do the campsites for a few nights. I mean, it was a lot of fun. And honestly, I probably won't even go to the parks while I'm there. And that's not because I go so much. I mean, I'll go to the parks every day if I could. And that's not a lie. I love it. It's just there's so much to do at the campgrounds. It is so much fun. On the thing about getting a golf cart rental, is it worth getting a golf cart rental? Yeah, oh man. See, the thing is, if you are lucky enough, like we were, to get a campsite that was rather close to a bus, you don't really need one, unless you want to go around to, like, I guess you don't really need one because they have an internal bus system there, but they're just so much handy, and they're so much fun to do. Like, they're just fun. They are expensive. It's $60 a day. So if you have I would say if you have the money to do it, why not? It's a good way to kind of, if one person wants to go to the pool without waiting for the bus, you can just hop on there. And most people there do have golf carts, so it's a lot of fun to do. If you want to spring for it, I'd say go for it. You're not going to be disappointed if you do get one. And it's just kind of good not having to wait for a bus. But the buses are pretty good there. I was impressed. I think it took me like 10 minutes to get from waking up, from leaving my tent to walking to the bus dropping me off at Pioneer Hall and walking there was a 10-minute trip. So it's not that bad. on if I thought driving or taking Disney transportation would be the better option. If you're going to Magic Kingdom, definitely take Disney transportation. You could take the monorail to the TTC and take the Epcot monorail back. But I would still drive to Epcot. I mean, you're a resort guest. You don't have to pay for parking. If you have your car, just drive to the other parks. Take the boat to Magic Kingdom for the sheer fact that it just drops you off right there at the front. And it's a nice little ride over, especially if you've never been there before. You can see what's left of River Country and Discovery Island. Great views of the Contemporary and Wilderness Lodge, as well as Bay Lake, and just a great view of the Magic Kingdom on a boat. It's a lot of fun. But if you're going to the other parks, I would definitely just drive through the parks, especially Animal Kingdom, because I don't like that parking lot. It's big. Epcot's bigger. Speaking of changes, I just thought about this when I talk about transportation. Just a heads up, guys. Okay, so the only reason I know this is because I deal with this every day for the most part. They have changed recently the way you get to the water parks from your resort. So if you were staying at a Disney resort back in the day, a few weeks ago, you would take a bus from one of the resorts to either Blizzard Beach or Typhoon Lagoon. That has changed. Be very mindful of this next time you come and you're going to the water parks. Now, if you are going to Typhoon Lagoon, you're going to get on your bus from your resort to Disney Springs. It'll drop you off there, and there's a bus that will take you to and from Disney Springs to Typhoon Lagoon. So remember, when you're coming back from your day at Typhoon Lagoon and you're going back to the resort, you got to go back to Disney Springs, take a bus from there to your resort. If you're going to Blizzard Beach, you have to go to Animal Kingdom, transfer from Animal Kingdom, and get on a bus from Animal Kingdom to Blizzard Beach. Just a heads up. That made me think about this when you talk about transportation here. Keep that in mind. So I know it's kind of weird, but that's just how it's done now. I should have brought this up like 2 weeks ago when it happened, but didn't really think about it. And Alex, thank you so much for that listener question. It means a lot. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys do listen on the way down. That'd be a lot of fun, and you'd get very bored very quickly. As I'm reading the listener questions here, some news has just come across, and it's pretty interesting. The complete listing of all of the menus for Food and Wine 2016 have been released. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I will do a blog post about this. So if you would like to, look at that, check that out later. Last question here. All right, last question here. Jonathan writes, "Hey Brad, I was wondering what your pick would be for the best attraction we never got. I have looked a lot into this topic, and I'm curious what you think. Thanks, and have a great day." Oh man, that's a tough one. The best one ever? Oh man, I have two. So the first one that I could think of off the top of my head, this is kind of a on the spot question here, because I don't read these before I do them, because that's just I don't prepare. We've talked about this. It's kind of tied, and one is actually going to be a land. One of these interests me quite a bit, and the land that we never got that would have been fantastic was a updated version of Tomorrowland called Tomorrowland 2055, and there was going to be a lot of really cool stuff in there. But the problem with Tomorrowland is whenever you decide to put a date on something, it makes it immediately dated by the time that has happened. The Discovery Bay thing also is something that was a missed opportunity, but as far as attractions go, I'm gonna go with, and this is just simply because I love it so much, this is going to be a personal question, or a personal answer rather. Sorry, I'm live streaming this on Periscope. It's kind of distracting. I have to kind of look away. Roger Rabbit's Toontown Trolley and that whole little area is probably my favorite, because I love Roger Rabbit, and the idea of having a full-blown Roger Rabbit attraction where Tower of Terror sits essentially is probably my favorite one. So that is going to do it for listener questions today. However, I started doing this just on the fly. This is going to be listener questions live right now from Periscope. And if you guys are watching it now, you know that I told you before I started recording this. God, I look horrible today. Let me move this up so we can see my face. That I was doing this, so I am going to let the floodgates open now. If you are watching this on Periscope right now, you guys, I'm talking to you guys, send in your live listener questions because I want to know what you guys think. It can be anything. It can be anything as simple as what is your favorite corn dog topping at Magic Kingdom, anything to trip planning and all that kind of stuff. So floodgates have been open, guys. Go ahead. I'm gonna grab a few of these and write them down, and then we will go through these. Any removal of alligators in Splash Mountain and other Magic Kingdom rides. They removed the guy from the new Mickey show, Luis, the crocodile from Princess and the Frog. They removed him from the stage show. Everything else is still intact. They did take the Jungle Cruise jokes out of it, but they are back. So that is that. I can confirm that TikTok is still in Peter Pan. He is still there. My favorite, what is my favorite Magic Kingdom ice cream? Oh, man, that's tough. I'm going to go with a Dole Whip float because that is my favorite. I love Dole Whip floats. I also love Mickey bars. If I could replace the icons of each park, what would you pick? Oh, man. Okay. Oh, jeez. I got to put the phone down for this one. I got to think about this one. Replace... text. Yes, you have. I've answered all your questions via text. Let's see. So for Magic Kingdom, I would make it Space Mountain. I think that's pretty iconic. I think you could get away with that. I would replace... oh, man. Epcot with... Is there something you can replace at Epcot? Does Le Cellier steak count? I guess for Epcot, you could do... you can either do the glass pyramids of Journey into Imagination, or you could do Soarin', like the Soarin', the Land Pavilion, just because there's so much going on in that pavilion right now. As far as Hollywood Studios go, the Millennium Falcon, because we know we're getting a Millennium Falcon attraction at Hollywood Studios in the near-time future. Ask that question again in just a second about Tower of Terror. Definitely the Millennium Falcon. I would do that because that's going to be the main draw now of Hollywood Studios. And I would also go. You could either do that or you could do something Toy Story. I don't know if you do Buzz or Woody. I don't know what you do really there. Let me see. Animal Kingdom. Something Pandora. Floating Mountains. That is not a Disney question, sir. You should be ashamed of yourself. What was Rebecca? What was the Disney food question? Tower of Terror changing themes. Disneyland's is possible that it's going to be, but I've heard more rumblings recently of Ellen's Energy Adventure getting a redo. So that's probably more likely, I think, for Hollywood Studios than a Marvel overlay. Rebecca, are you still here? Because if not, we're going to move on with that. So that's what I've heard. So it's probably unlikely that happens. What are we going to eat at Disney that you still need to know? What should you try? Oh, God, like a Disney Foodie 101. Ohana, you're going to want to do Ohana. You're going to want to do a Dole Whip. You're going to want to do a Mickey bar. You're going to want to do Hoop-de-Doo for sure, which I talked about earlier on the show that you guys will hear. Disney banned Pokemon Go at parks. Don't think that's true. In fact, I know for a fact it's not true because I just know. Hoop-de-Doo is the greatest thing of all time, and if you listen to this podcast, you'll hear more about Hoop-de-Doo. Oh man, there's so much. There's so much. I'll get you caught up on Disney food. You know, I'm actually make that its own thing. Disney Food 101, what you should eat as far as if you've never done Disney dining before. We'll make that happen as an episode. All right, that is going to do it for this episode today. Thank you guys so much for downloading and watching live on Periscope. If you want to watch live on Periscope, I might start doing this more, doing a live stream of this on Periscope. Thank you guys for all your great questions. If you have an actual question, guys, that you want to send into the show, you can do it at thedailydisneyblog@gmail.com, or you can check out the website and do it that way. Either way you want to do it. It's up to you. But that is it for me today. Make sure you guys rate and review over on iTunes and Stitcher. Rate and review the show on iTunes and Stitcher. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope at Daily Disney Blog. You can also check out the YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Daily Disney Blog and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Orlando Vlogger. That's me too. I'm two things. How am I both? Oh well, I do both. That is it for me today. I appreciate you guys watching and listening and all that kind of crap. And I will see you guys later. Have a good one.
Hey, it's Brad again, and thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It means a lot to me that you download each and every episode, and I want to thank you personally from the bottom of my heart. I love Disney, and I love getting the chance to make your day even just a little bit more magical. Thanks again, and I will see you on the next show.